You're sitting next to a stranger on a flight. 10 minutes later, you've told them about your divorce, your childhood, and that one thing you've never even told your best friend. And the worst part? It felt completely natural in the moment. Most people would call that oversharing, a lack of filter, maybe even embarrassing. But what if that instinct, the one everyone told you to suppress, is actually one of the rarest signs of emotional intelligence a person can have? Stay with me, because this one is going to reframe everything. People who overshare with strangers often have what researchers call high interoceptive awareness, meaning they feel their emotions more intensely than most people. The feelings build up faster, they carry more emotional weight internally, and sharing isn't weakness, it's pressure relief. It's actually your nervous system self-regulating in real time. There's also something called social baseline theory, the idea that human brains are wired to seek connection as a survival mechanism, not a want, a need. So when you open up to a stranger, you're not broken. Your brain is doing exactly what it was built to do: find a human, build a bridge, and offload what it's been carrying. That's no a flaw, that's your wiring doing its job. Trait number 1, you create trust instantly. When you're willing to be vulnerable first, you set the emotional tone of an entire interaction. This is called social modeling, and it's one of the most powerful leadership tools in existence. In a workplace setting, the person who says, "Honestly, I've struggled with this too," in a meeting, they're not the weak one in the room. They're the one everyone secretly gravitates toward afterward. You make people feel safe to be real, and that is extraordinarily rare. Trait number 2, you process emotions in real time. Most people bottle things. They suppress, they delay, they revisit the same pain for years without ever actually moving through it. You don't do that. Because you share as you feel, you're actually processing your experiences as they happen. Psychologists call this narrative therapy in action. Turning experience into language is one of the most effective ways the brain integrates and heals from emotional events. The stranger on the bus, they were your therapist, and you didn't even need a copay. Trait number 3, you are wired for authentic connection. Here's something most people spend their whole lives chasing, and you do it almost accidentally. When you share something real and unfiltered with someone, and they respond with warmth, that's genuine human connection. Not the polished, surface level, "I'm fine, how are you" version, the real thing. Studies on adult loneliness consistently show that it's not the quantity of relationships that matters for well-being, it's the depth. You skip the shallow end entirely. You've probably had a single 45-minute conversation with a stranger that felt more meaningful than a year of small talk with an acquaintance. That's not accidental, that's your gift. Trait number 4, you have an unusually low fear of judgment. Psychologically, the biggest barrier to human connection isn't distance, it's the fear of being seen and rejected. Most people are so terrified of that outcome, they never let themselves be truly known by anyone. You've already made peace with the possibility of rejection. Because you share before you've had time to overthink it, before the inner critic kicks in, you operate from a place of psychological courage most people don't even realize is possible. Over time, that translates into boldness in negotiations, honesty in relationships, and a kind of authenticity that people are magnetically drawn to, even if they can't explain why. Trait number 5, you are an emotional mirror for others. Here's the one that might surprise you the most. When you share something personal with a stranger, more often than not, they share back. Something you said unlocked something in them they hadn't said out loud in years, maybe ever. That's not coincidence. That's called the reciprocity of self-disclosure, a well-documented psychological principle. And it means you have an almost unconscious ability to make other people feel seen. In a world where most people feel profoundly unseen and unheard, and they do, the research on this is overwhelming, you are the person who changes that. For a stranger on a train, for a colleague after a hard meeting, for a friend who didn't know they needed to finally say the thing. You are not someone who talks too much. You are someone who opens doors. If this video made you feel understood today, if it finally put words to something you've always felt about yourself, subscribe, because that's exactly what this channel is here for. I'll see you in the next one.